I finally got all the parts for this LT77 gearbox. It's taken quite a long time because we were after one of these, which is now made from unobtainium. This took a long time to find. It's not a common part anymore, unfortunately, so just watch out. But it was rare for that piece to go. Now, what am I doing? As you can probably see in the background, I've got my ultrasonic cleaner fired up with some detergent, because I cleaned all this lot off about 6-7 weeks ago, if you can remember from that video. But of course, when we're using the cleaner for other things, water gets splashed, and we had a few rust splashes on bits. Even though I had it covered up, if you can remember, my bench had a plastic over it. Well, some bits got just surface rust, nothing serious, just a little bit of discoloration. So what I've done is I've plonked them in, the bits in to the ultrasonic, and cleaned them up again, and they really do come up a treat, you know. Now we're going to change these bearings, but what I did was I put all these parts through the soda blaster first, just to get any corrosion off. And then I put it through the ultrasonic to take off the solder. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is, in here I've got the main plate that we need to assemble this gearbox. The shaft is perfect, there's nothing wrong with that, but everything now is at 80 degrees, so it's hot. So it's a good time to give things, when they come out of the blaster, just a nice coat of paint. Don't worry about this yet, that's okay, we're alright with that. But you can see how things go. They get a little light surface coat of rust. It's nothing really, but it's the consequences of that being water. And it's nice too, because it'll clean inside this shaft, which you can't really get to with regular cleaners, so that's pretty good. I'll start up the ultrasonic, but it'll probably interfere with the camera. You see what I mean? Noisy bloody thing, isn't it? But I only put it on for a few seconds, well, literally a few seconds. But what I'm going to do is that I'm going to run it for a little bit, because I've had a piece in there for over lunchtime. I'm going to run it, vibrate it a bit, I'll bring it out and I'll show you exactly what we do. So this part's just come out, and now we're going to blow it off. It is hot. Don't worry about blowing over there, because I'm going to wash them all out again later. But that, it's nice and clean. Now the bluish tinge you see on here, there's nothing really, it's just from the cleaner that I used. And the next thing, while it's hot, tidy it up with a bit of paint. See, just like that. So I'll get this painted, and then it'll dry really quick. So I just went round the edge of this with some black paint. On this instance I'm using Tremclad. Get the English bit out so you can see, because this has got primer and paint in it at the same time. So we just give it one coat and it's good stuff. Now, that's still kind of warm. What I did was spread the edges and then went round it with a paper towel soaked in brake cleaner and cleaned off all the surface. Now that's why you can see I've got a pad here and some sandpaper, and before I put it in the cleaner, I sanded all that surface to make sure that there was no more gasket paper or sealer on both sides. Very important. Next, the dowels that go through here have to be a nice sliding fit. Just like, if we can pick this up, like this. You see? If they stick, you're going to have problems. You'll see later on in the build. So at the moment I've got the other casing in the cleaner. I'm going to put the ultrasonic on. I'd like to do ultrasonic at the same time as I'm talking and building, but I just can't because of the noise. Alright, we'll come back in a minute. So I'll give that a quick coat of paint. I realised I picked up matte instead of satin. Well, never mind. If you're going to clean off the paint, the excess paint and the runs and things like that, because you always get a few runs, put your brake cleaner on your paper towel and wipe it off. Thus. Makes a nice job. Instead of spraying the top. Not so bothered about that bit, it's you want the gasket surface nice. So I'm going to turn that over, and the next thing we're going to do is going to have a look at the parts that were sent from Ashcroft's. So here's the kit that we got. We've got quite a big box of bits and pieces. This actually is the gear for the transfer case. We'll come to that later, but we got a new one. Made in Turkey, or made by turkeys. I don't know. We'll put that to one side, and let's have a look at this box. The box says LT77 Master Rebuild Kit to suit suffix D2E, and their address. Comes with a gasket set. This is made by EAC Parts. I have not really used their stuff before, so it was kind of refreshing to see. Manufactured in EU. Ooh, this must be old stuff. Yeah, it's got everything in there that we need, because the LT77 had paper gaskets, and although you can use silicone, I'm going to use what came from the factory. Because I asked for a tube of high-low sil, because we'll need that for the transfer case. We've got this wasn't in the kit. These are the seals for the transfer case, and they look like OEM seals. Yeah, they are. They're pre-greased OEM seals. Good thing. In here is a box of bits that we asked for. That's not really included. I asked for the springs for the synchros, and I asked for a new shuttle, a spring for the selector, and a tube for the transfer case. So those bits are in there, and also a new O-ring for the transfer case. Again, we'll be doing that later. Now we're into the Ashcroft's bits and pieces. Well, let's start with that. There's a filter that goes underneath the extension housing, but most importantly, and the bit that's overlooked, is this piece here. This is a little oil catcher that goes inside this casing before you assemble anything. So the first thing we put in is this. I'll show you that in a minute. We'll put that, keep it clean. Yeah, we've got a full set of Timken bearings. There they are, full set of brand new Timken bearings. Take no chances on those. And also new synchro rings. Again, no manufacturer's mark, but they're really handy. Then we've got a bag of bits here. This is why it's always nice to have a, whoops, this is always why it's nice to have a kit. There is, I'll open them up now because we're going to fit them later. A new sleeve, a new collar that goes on the main shaft for your oil seals to run on. We've also got a variety of circlips, brand new circlips to fit on. We've also got here probably a nut. Yes, this is a new nut to go on the lay shaft. Where's my bin gone? Down there. And this is an upgraded drive for the oil pump, and this is one of the reasons why we bought a kit. Normally these were made in a material we call Tufnol. Tufnol is a resin and cloth material. It was kind of easy to manufacture back in the old days and machine, and it was, like I say, it was tough, it was good stuff. However, there has been cases where people put the wrong oils in these gearboxes, or when the oils got very cold, that it's possible to strip the teeth off these gears and thus no oil. Because why do we need an oil pump? I'll tell you. When we come to the main shaft, we can see there's a hole here. The oil pump pumps through this hole, comes down the shaft because it's hollow, and then it lubricates through these holes here the bearings. Now we're going to use that shaft again. There's actually nothing wrong with it. It mics up perfectly. It's got a few little marks in it, but well, it'll be fine. We know it's fine because look at the splines on the end of it. It's done nothing. It's just age, I think. So that's good. We've got a good little kit there, and I think it's well worth it, because it really is nice to have everything on hand. And again, it's good enough for Ashcrofts, it's good enough for me. So we'll put that to one side, and we'll start. What we're going to start on? What we're going to start on first? I think we'll start to assemble the main shaft, because we need that bit. Now it hasn't got any bearings on or anything. We're going to put the soft jaws in the vise if we can still find them, and yeah, we'll start to put this together. Now I'm going to clean off the gears and things like that, but that might be a bit boring. But anyway, we'll come to that in a minute.